All right, I'm gonna go through the setup here as far as the mixer and your monitors go. So it's two racks, right? So one of them is the X32 rack that has 6 channels of wireless. I'll use the first 2 here for vocals. The other ones are just it's for other bands that need more, but I'll have one channel here dedicated for a speech microphone. So always keep that handy. I set it here for now, but that's for toasts for when that takes place during the reception. But otherwise, you got 2 racks, and it's pretty straightforward. I'll have, and I might be all over the place here because I'm not used to doing this, but anyways, so there's a laptop that I have connected here with a aux 1/8" cable that I'll plug in to this direct box here using these RCA to 1/8" cable going mono out, and then that's going to be for my break music or special music if they need any, and then I also have an Ethernet or network cable that is going to be used to hardwire into the X32, and that cable is simply gonna be tucked in here at the end of the night so that I could just pull it out for the next gig and plug it up. So I've got these half-wave antennas that I use. You'll have to put these out, which is for the wireless mics. As you can see here, I have this clamp that is gonna have this BNC cable that is gonna be tucked in the rack back here. So what you'll have to do is just pull it out, clamp this on here, and then just attach it. And I'll have it here on the side so that it's not in the way of the laptop. So just be mindful of that. And then let me go back, go into the patching part of this. So I have this 3 DIY XLR cable that I made. And essentially it's gonna just be 1-to-1. So 1 goes into in 1, 2 goes to 2, and 3 goes to 3. And I already did the digital patching for where this goes, so just make sure that these line up here. And then that break music cable is gonna go into this channel 16 labeled music, and that's already also patched into the break music channel. There's my Cat 5 AES50 cable that goes to that stage box that I'll keep that over there by the drummer. So yeah, so once you open this up, you're gonna patch in this tail, which goes to Bennett's station, and that's gonna get me his talkback / vocal mic. And same for that. It's output 1 of that goes into mic or XLR1. Output 2 on that goes to XLR2, and then the input of that is for this microphone. So he's the only wired vocal mic, so that goes out of the vocal mic into this A/B switch box, whatever, and then out 1 and 2, and then 3 is a direct box that's going to be for his guitar, and then I'll have to send a power cable, so I'll have plenty of 3 outlet cables. I just have that plugged into another 3, so I'll typically have 2 of these here. One of them is going to be for the PA system, so this is subwoofer main, and then this is for the lights that I have mounted on the sub pole as so. Essentially what you have to consider when you do these lights is the bottom one is going to have the power plug. So you plug it in there, and then you're going to run the cable nice and neat here, and then use these ties here at the top and the bottom so that it looks nice and neat, and then just run the cables here, plug it up to one of these, and then there's another one that I use for, it's somewhere down there, but essentially it's a 3 outlet extension cord, and that's going to be for the top rack, bottom rack, and then the 3rd cable is going to go to Bennett for his situation here. Okay, let me go back to patching. So same for these here, this tail belongs to the inner monitor rack, so it's just 1-to-1 essentially. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can go out. This is left or right. Typically it doesn't really matter. I mix in mono anyways. So, and then this is for the subwoofer. In this case, I just went out of the main to the subwoofer and then out of this to the main because they have their own crossover. The only reason I did that is because I had very little time. I didn't want to run extra cables. The Venio mat is not ideal. So anyways, and so this is for the inner monitor. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 and 8. So this one says aux 1, right? So that's gonna go out of the output here. Out 7, I think is what I have, and then 8, out 8. So this one's not labeled, but just know that if this is aux 1, that it goes here and then the second one goes there. So you'll have a total of 8 XLR or cables to patch this inner monitor rack. These are for the microphones. Don't touch them. They're very finicky, but they should work fine. I try to maintain them as much as I can. And then this also stays connected at all times. Do not connect that at any point. The only thing you're really doing here is patching in the XLRs here for the inputs, the outputs here, which are the 8 connectors, and then your PA, and then your AES-50 cable. And then down here, I guess there's not much you have to worry about. It's just at the end of the night, unplug these, tuck it in, and then also for the BNC cable that's there, you just tuck it in down here as well, and it stays there. I keep it connected here at all times, so just tuck it in there so that the next gig you could just whip it out, plug it up, and then you're good to go. So that should be it for this side. Oh, and then power for the laptop. It's a little hard. You may have to take some time, but I'll try to plug it into one of these here so that I have power for that. And just try to cable manage everything, you know, tuck in cable where it may hide from behind the subwoofer or something. And then I'll typically keep my microphone case here just in case I need an extra DI box or microphone if something goes bad. And then, yeah, so that AES-50, I'll typically run this way, and then I'll set it up here next to the drummer. And then let me go through that as well for the back line. So I have it labeled, but typically what you'll end up actually plugging up is gonna be kick, snare, overhead. That's for the drums. Bass, not guitar, because guitar we're gonna do it side stage. Keys is just stereo. So I know it says keys T and B, which is for keys top and bottom. That's for another band, but it's just stereo feed that we're getting. So you're just gonna go up to here, and then horns. They have 2 horns, so I'll have them plugged up to 14 and 15, and then 16 is open in case they have a 3rd horn. Okay, so those are my inputs, and my outputs, I'll have this one at the bottom is labeled drums, which is output 1. So I'll just send a line from output 1 into the drummer's pack here. Okay, so that's for his inner monitor, and then this output 2 is for the keys. So I'll run a line all the way over there, and I'll show you in a second, but that's for his, what do you call it? Mixer that he has. And then here are outputs for the PA. So PA right, I'll send a cable all the way down, and then it'll end up over there. And then same for sub. But like I said, today I'm only running one line into the subwoofer and then out of the subwoofer to the main. But typically if I wanted to have separate control, have it routed accordingly, then I'll run another cable for sub so that I have independent control of each system. So for horns, since I'm here, so yeah, I'll have 2 cables running here, and they're wired clip-on mics. So here's the first one, and the second one he'll just have there. And try to leave some slack, because they like to move. So if they're gonna be moving, we gotta make sure that they have enough slack to move around. Drums, I just have a D6 mic that I just throw in here in the middle, and then patch that to the stage box, and then snare is just a clip on right there, and then overhead, I'll typically place it here just to get a general idea of the drum kit. Let's see what else. Bass, typically if it's the bass player that is in the band, I'll just run a line for him. We'll go DI out of his pedal, and then I'll leave a Furman right there, which they'll use to plug up over here. Right now, keys, like I said, it's just a stereo feed, so out of his mixer, he'll send out 2 1/4-inch cables. I'll use the stereo box, plug in, and then from here to that stage box. And then, like I said, we're sending 1 mono cable for his monitor. Yeah, so like I said, I'll run out of that stage box a really long cable, likely a 50-footer or so, and then just throw it to the PA here. Same situation for power, so I'll have a 3 outlet here, and in this case I have power there, nice, but otherwise I'll try to keep it nice and clean, and that's going to be for your sub, your main, and then your light. So yeah, and then vocals, we've got 3 wireless vocal mics for the front line, and the way that I have that set up is RF1, and they're labeled, so you'll be able to see them when they're even when they're off. But this one is RF1, and then 2, and then 3 there. So the way I think the way that I have it labeled is this is L, this is Sean, and this is Sky. Okay, and then from left to right, from front of house position, we'll have electric guitar with the talkback and vocal mic, and then horns here. Typically, they might change it up, but horns are typically on this side, and then drums, bass, and then keys. And then let me see what else that I can think of. I'll typically leave a microphone here on the stage box for him, which would be microphone or RF4. I'll leave it on there because Richard sings. So if he's on the gig, use RF4, place it there, and then it'll show up as Richard on the mixer itself. That should be it. I'll also have to go over what do you call it? The channels and everything, but as far as the layout goes, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna quickly go over my settings here on the mixer. You can use Mixing Station if you like, use whatever app works for you. But essentially, the way that I have it set up is I'll go from channel 1 on. So kick, snare, overhead, guitar, bass, and then keys. Like I said, keys are stereo, so they're linked. And I'm gonna try to keep it so that you don't have to mess too much with the channels, and instead use the DCAs. But I'll come back to this. So yeah, this is essentially the back line, and then this is the talkback. And like I said, it's all already patched, digitally patched. So that 3 cable that I told you about for Bennett, that's over there. I have that from input 2 going to channel 9. So, all right, anyways, so talkback mic, and then I have horns, which is trumpet, sax, and then typically trombone if they have a 3rd horn for that gig. But otherwise, I'll try to keep things around unity so that I'll mess with the DCAs a bit more. And then the 3rd layer is vocals, L, Sean. It says Angie because we had a sub last gig, but typically it's Sky, and then it's Bennett, and then Richard, who is the trumpet player. That's that microphone I told you about that is RF4. I'll keep it over there on that stage box, and that's for Richard. And then this last layer, I gotta work on it a little bit, but essentially, it's gonna have music here, as you can see, my break music or special music, whatever, and then my toast mic or speech mic for toasts. So I typically have that, it would be here as RF6. Let me see if it'll show up. Yeah, so RF6 is what I'll use for the speech mic. Okay, buses. So these are the buses. They mix their own monitors, so you shouldn't have to mess with it too much. Ignore this because this is gonna go away because I changed something. So, but these are your buses or your inner monitor mixes. These are the sends for the effects. Okay, so the way that I have it set up is I have my left and right for my outputs, right? My left and right is feeding my matrices. So I have a left and right matrix, which are stereo linked. Okay, so that's gonna go out of, there's gonna be PA left out of the output of the X32, and then the DL16 is gonna be PA right. Okay, and so that's what this is. And then sub is just a mono output out of one out of this one and then one out of that one to get to the other PA over there. But essentially, you have independent control. I have it EQ'd. Like I said, right now it's EQ'd to just left and right. That's going to the sub and the top. But when you do it, you'll be able to EQ here at the left and right. Just be mindful how much you EQ because that's going to then affect your matrices. But you have a bit more EQ processing if you need. And then the sub is just filtered because it's just sub. Everything else on this page, ignore. You're just going to focus on your main left and right. And then that's going to feed my matrices, which are my outputs. Okay, routing. That should be the last thing, and I think we're good. So just for your peace of mind, the way I have it is AES51 through 16 is channels 1 through 16, and then local 1 through 16 are 17 to 32. Okay, that's for the inputs. For the outputs, this is important for you to know in case you have to troubleshoot. So, and I'll have to double check this, at least for the horns. But everything else, output 1 means body pack 1. I have them labeled, the inner monitor packs, I have them labeled 1 through 8. So output 1 is L, or RF1, or number 1, should I say, which is on the body pack. Here, let me give you an example here. This is a spare, so just keep this on deck just in case one fails. But this is 8, right? So let me see. So output 1 is going to be 1. Output 2 or L, right? It's going to be number 1. 2 is going to be Sean. 3 is going to be Sky. It says Angie now because that was our sub. But essentially, the way that I have it is the vocals. When I look at the stage, it's 1, 2, and then 3, right? So that's how I have that from left to right. Output 4 is then Bennett, the band leader and guitarist. And then output 5, it says Sean now, but this is actually for the bass player, Andreas, which is gonna be over there. So he is body pack 5, and then body pack 6 is gonna go to the trumpet player. And then aux out is that aux 1 cable, that's for sax. Okay, so that's body pack 7. Okay, and then what did I say was trumpet is 6. So do with that what you can, and that should be it. For effects, I do have a graphic EQ for the left and right. It may look terrible, but I'm constantly in rooms that are not designed for live sound, so use your judgment on how to EQ the room. But otherwise, I have FX1 as just a reverb, and then FX2 is my plate, which I'll put horns on, drums, it just depends. FX3 is my stereo delay. I just keep that pretty quickly as probably go faster than this actually. Kind of like a slapback. And then effects 4 is what do you call it? Parallel compression. So I'll send vocals to that and then mix to taste. So yeah, feel free to get creative with it. But all right, lastly, my DCAs. All right, so vocals, right? Then I have drums, guitar, bass, keys, effects, which I'm in a room today that is pure reverberation all around, so I'm going to keep the effects low today, but you know, use that wisely. And then my speech mic. I typically will get pretty hot with this one, and also with this fader, to get the most volume, I'll go to 10, and then get close to 10 with this one too. But just be mindful of feedback. And then lastly, horns. Okay. So I'll keep this down here. When you're doing your sound check, definitely do a sound check for the speech mic and EQ to ring out as much as possible, as if somebody was standing right there in front of the speakers and is holding the mic down to their belly button. All right. You have to just be mindful that people are not gonna hold the microphone properly, and you're gonna have to just give it as much volume before feedback. So, all right, that should cover it. Yeah, I'll be 6 hours ahead of you, but I'll have to talk to you about seeing if you can reach me through either Instagram or Facebook, since I won't have actual cell phone service. Cool.
All right, these are the microphones. We've got 6 channels of wireless, but we're only going to be using 4. So it's 3 vocalists up front, and then 1 for the horn player for Richard, if he's on the gig. And they're all labeled here. I have them set so you can quickly see them, but RF1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then these are the batteries for them, and they should be all charged at this point. So you just pop them in, and then I'll go from the stage. So if you're looking from front of house position, it would be 1, 2, 3, and then your 4th mic would be for your horn player, which is stage right here. And then this 5th microphone, I'll end up using for speeches and toasts. So anybody that needs a wireless microphone for any toasts, then you would just have that next to you, side stage, and then walk over to whoever's going to be using it. And that should be it for wireless mics.